Well, let me ask you a question about that. I mean, I could imagine somebody saying, okay, Abraham did a lot of things. Some things were obviously bad, like he lied, for example. But but for example, taking Lot with him, that could be a good thing. Like, I'm going to be blessed. Hey, come with me. I'm sharing the blessings, and can't remember the other example too that you talked about, but oh, and then blessing Melchizedek, or giving him a tenth and saying, basically blessing him. I mean, if you give somebody a present, that could be a positive thing, whereas we all know lying is a negative thing. So therefore, wouldn't tithing be looked at as a positive thing? And of course, we already know lying is negative, so we don't have to talk about that.
Well, nice try, Bernie, but I don't give you or anybody that brought those objections. I wouldn't give them any points for that. Um, that would be the question is, what did God tell him to do? All right, either you obey God or you don't. Either Abraham obeys God or he doesn't. And God clearly told him, all right, to leave all his relatives. All right.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that part. I thought he just said leave, and it was ambiguous whether you can bring other people with you or not. But you're saying he pretty much specifically forbid him to bring other people.
Told him to leave his family. Where was that? I believe that was. Well, I don't have the verse right in front of me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, but so Abraham did not. He only partially obeyed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was.
So do you agree with Russ then that that's like the best argument that the tithe teachers have is Abraham as an example?
Well, I think Russ and I are both saying that that's the argument that the tithe thinkers think is their best argument.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those who teach it. And the only reason it holds any weight at all is because the people they're talking to, the members, are ignorant of what the scripture really says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and if they would sit down and debate Russ, okay, they would find out quickly that doesn't hold water. Now, I believe what Russ said about not willing to debate both their membership and people like Russ. I'm not a debater, okay, but Russ is a person who can do that rather well, okay. My strength is in presenting. All right, I will present the data, and you either accept it or reject it. It's basically how it, it's just like the way the Lord presents the gospel. Here it is. You either accept it or reject it. Okay, but uh, Russ is a little more gracious and willing to debate, whereas I would prefer to present the data. I look at it this way: we've had decades of people telling what they thought was the truth about tithing, that God still requires a tithe. So I figure that's been spoken enough, and I don't really want to hear it anymore. So allow me just to do this presentation, and then you either take it or leave it.
Well, I guess some background there. When we're talking about Russ and debating, Russ wrote the book "Should the Church Teach Tithing?" and in the book, he basically dispels all the arguments for tithing. And Russ has been trying really hard to get some debates online or in person or otherwise, and cannot find anybody who wants to debate tithing. They all want to shun it. So is that right, Russ?
So far, they don't get past the first round.
Yeah.
The first round is I present my viewpoint, they present their viewpoint. I tell them where I disagree, they tell them where they disagree, and then we sum it up. But they never get past the point where they tell me what's wrong with my logic.
Yeah, so
they just stop there and give up.
I guess so. For anybody listening to this, if anybody says, "Oh yeah, I definitely understand that there's valid reasons for tithing, and I'd love to go in a debate with Russ on that," then they can get a hold of me and we'll set it up. Okay, so let's talk about number 3 then. The third question was, it seems like many people assume that someone who is against tithing, they're against donating money at all because they're stingy. So why is that not the case? In other words, Russ, you're against tithing ideas, so that must mean that you're stingy and you like to hold on to all your money. Is that right?
They love to throw that, but without even knowing who we are. I mean, for all they know, I could be giving much more than they are, and they don't even know me, but they want to accuse me, and George and everybody else that questions them throw that at us. I'm not sure that everybody who is against tithing has a good reason for it. I'm sure there's a lot that are a little bit selfish and stingy. But even if it is true that they're doing it for a stingy and selfish reason, that does not justify teaching error. we point out, almost all of us point out, that it is unscriptural to command people to begin their giving level at 10%. And we point this out to encourage them to open their minds to much better giving principles. There's some text in the New Testament. I especially like 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verses 12 to 14. It's talking about equality giving. Now, equality giving means that those who have money should and can give 12, 13, 30%, 40%, much. Don't stop at 10%. But at the same time, those who cannot give they may be giving sacrificially when they only give 2 or 3%. The point is that it equals out in the long run. We are not for telling the wealthy people, you give 10% and you please God. That's wrong. These people, they don't feel it in their pocketbooks. They're not giving sacrificially, even though they are giving 10%. But for them to turn around and point to some poor person who's giving 2 or 3% and has to let his medicine and his food slide, that's just not right at all. The biblical tithe was never, another thing I want to point out, it was never a first fruit. And these tithe teaching churches and preachers and books, almost all of them say the tithe is a first fruit. You must give it to God, or which means to the church or to the preacher first, before any of your other bills are paid. Well, Paul said in 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8, that we need to take care of our family essentials first. And that means you take care of medicine, food, and shelter first. Otherwise, you're worse than a heathen. And to teach that, no, the tithe must go first. Forget about the medicine and food and shelter for your family. That, to me, is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, for example, in the Old Testament, when they tied the animals, they would tithe every 1 out of 10 that would pass under the rod, it says. And so, as I understand, that would be like a yearly thing. So that's kind of like more like an inventory check at the end of the year kind of thing. So if you had 100 head of cattle or sheep or something that were born in your care that time, but you lost 50% or ate 50% or whatever, you'd only be so-called tithe on, the 50, not all 100. I mean, that's another complication on the whole thing compared to the first fruits idea, like you were saying the tithe teachers say.
Yeah, and the word tithe means tenth. Well, why do they change it to mean first? And the Bible does not teach that the tithe is the best. It is the tenth. That tenth may not be the best. It's erroneous teaching.
I think that's one of the complications with the Christian tithe teachers is they confuse all the terms. I mean, they have first fruits. That basically is the same thing as a tithe. It's basically the same thing as stewardship. I mean, basically they just put it all together in a big ball of confusion, and it's all the same thing for them. And so what you're saying is that these are specific terms that mean specific things.
And the average church member trusts their preacher that he's telling them the truth, and they don't question it, and they don't have they really ought to activate their priesthood as a believer and do their own research and study this out for themselves. That's all George and I are asking. Study it for yourself. Don't take somebody else's word for it.